The Third Twin. Chapter 1. We have 3 rules for being Alicia. Always wear the diamond pendant, never sleep with any of the guys, and after 5 dates, they're history, no matter how hot they are. Right now, I'm especially glad for rule number 3, because this particular guy seems determined to break rule number 2. Come on, Casey, take it easy, I say, pushing myself away from him as far as I can in such a small space, the door handle pressing uncomfortably against my back. The door has that musky, skunky smell of old pot smoke, and there are 2 half-smoked joints in the cup holder right out in the open for everyone to see. Makes me wonder who else has been here recently. What? He says with a smile, a lock of his blonde hair falling into his eyes. Damn, Ava was right. He is really hot. Of course, my sister would never get Alicia involved with someone who wasn't good looking. High cheekbones and tight abs are the prerequisites for dating Alicia, even if Casey does drive a dented 2007 Camry and work at the Cheesecake Factory. Guys with expensive cars and a real future go out with Ava. Casey drums on the steering wheel with his fingers, not like this is the first time we've gone out or anything. There's no way I can comment on that, because technically this is our first date. Ava swore that nothing happened between them the other times, but he's so handsy, I'm starting to doubt her story. And, I say, sitting up and straightening my shirt. And, Casey leans towards me. You don't expect me to be a good boy forever. I mean, come on, look at you. I glanced down at the short black skirt that Ava had put on me earlier this evening and wonder what she would do. He obviously hasn't been able to tell the difference between the 2 of us. Over the years, we've found that, given enough cleavage and lip gloss, most guys aren't all that observant. Casey must think that my hesitation means I'm caving in. Come on, babe, he says, his breath hot on my neck as he swoops in for another try. You know you want to. Babe? Did he really just say that? I don't know anything, I say, using all my strength to keep him away from me, except that I don't want anything more to do with you. Get off me. Casey grins and leans back against the seat, his profile sharp in the dim orange glow of the Cheesecake Factory parking lot. I can see my car out the passenger side window, all alone in a pool of light under the street lamp, now that everyone else has gone home. I suddenly want so badly to be in it, seeing nothing but his car in the rearview mirror. I grab my bag off the floor and reach for the door, but just as quickly Casey's hand is on my arm. Not so fast, he says, biting his bottom lip. We're not done here. I think we are, I say, twisting my arm hard, but I can't get him to let go. The strength of his grip is surprising and unsettling. A jolt of fear ripples through my body as I stare at his fingers, which turn white as they clutch my arm. Then once again we'll have to agree to disagree, he says, pressing his mouth against mine. I clench my teeth so hard that they grind against my upper lip, and I taste the metallic tang of blood. He pulls back just a little, and his grin gets even wider. He's loving this. So that's the way it's gonna be. Fine with me. We can do this the easy way, and you can sit back and enjoy it, or we can do this the hard way. Your call. All I can smell is the spicy scent of his aftershave, and I feel like gagging. I can't believe I kind of liked the smell when I met him here after he got off work. Tall, handsome, polite. When Casey walked with me down by the pier and bought me ice cream at the stall on the boardwalk, he was everything Ava had said he'd be. Now that the nice person's completely gone, and I can feel the force of his desire to control me wash over us in a cramped front seat. My mind is racing, and I'm pissed at myself for getting into the situation. I should have never gotten into his car in the first place. All those self-defense classes Dad made us take a couple of years ago, yet here I am, alone in a dark parking lot with a guy I barely know. Idiot. I said no! I shout, shoving him, but he seriously outweighs me, and the harder I fight him, the more he seems to get off on it. The sharp edges of panic start rising in my chest. We were just having fun. This is not how it's supposed to go. God, that's hot, he says, bending down and biting my shoulder so hard I feel his teeth pierce my skin. Get off me! I scream, louder this time, the sound echoing and desperate in my ears. I can feel my heart beating fast and my breathing turn shallow as ideas flash through my brain, trying to figure out a way out of this car, out of this night. I push him one last time and then drop my arms. There's no way I can fight him off. I'm going to have to try something else.
"Aw, come on. You're not giving up that easy, are you?"
he asks, his voice lower and his breath quicker than it's been all night. Look, I say, knowing that if I just give in to the panic, it will only feed the moment. Just let me out of here. I'll get in my car and go home and we'll forget about it.
"I'll give you something you won't forget," he says roughly. "Don't you worry about that, Alicia."
That name rips right through me. Alicia. I can feel my heart slow for just a moment and I inhale deeply. Tonight, I'm not Lexi. I'm Alicia. I'm strong, confident, and infinitely capable. I might give up, but Alicia would fight this asshole to her very last breath. I close my eyes and realize that I'm gripping my bag with my right hand. Casey's pressing himself against me and doesn't notice my fingers slipping into the opening of the soft leather. He doesn't hear the soft metallic clink as my hand closes around what I've been looking for. The weapon they taught us to use if we were ever in a situation like this. His eyes are screwed shut as I pull my keys out of my bag, and before I can lose my nerve, rake them across his face with as much force as I can manage.
"What the fuck?"
he shrieks, jerking back and clamping one hand to his cheek. I know I have only a few seconds, so in one quick motion I flip the handle, push the car door open, and tumble out into the dark, damp air, gulping it in like I've been underwater for hours. I hear commotion behind me, but I don't stop to look as I scramble to my feet, unsteady in the high heels I'm not used to wearing. It seems to take forever to reach my car, but I finally manage to open the door with keys that are already in my hand. I slide into the front seat and slam and lock the door behind me.
"You little bitch!"
he shouts from outside the car, his breath making a circle of fog on my window. I see a line of blood on his cheek and my stomach clenches, knowing it's only fueled his anger. If he gets hold of me now, there's no way he's letting go. He pounds on the glass and I flinch. For one agonizing second, I can't find the ignition button as I run my hands desperately over the dashboard. He's still shouting, his face just inches from mine. I'm afraid he's going to put his fist through the window when the engine roars to life and I squeal out of the parking lot space, my headlights zigzagging across the dark asphalt. Only when I reach the parking lot entrance do I pause for a second and notice the dark flecks of blood on my fingers. As I wipe them quickly on my skirt, I find the tiniest grin of satisfaction in the fact that I caused it, imagining the story he's going to have to tell about how he got his stupid face ripped open. Turning onto the main road, I allow myself one glance into the rearview mirror and see a lone, shadowy figure leaning against the small red car under the dim lights. It's cold in here, and I realize I left Ava's sweater in his car, the new blue one with the beading that she let me borrow. She's going to be pissed about that, but if it's the worst thing that happens tonight, I'm good. I adjust the mirror and my face comes into focus. For a second, I don't recognize it. It's not just the heavy eyeliner and sparkly purple shadow Alicia wears, or the diamond-filled letter A on the pendant that catches the light from the street. There's something behind the physical transformation that my sister crafted so carefully earlier this evening, a hardness underneath that makes me momentarily uneasy. Alicia isn't scared, and she isn't sorry. She's glad that for once a guy got what he deserved. Alicia started as a joke, the ultimate imaginary friend. Our pretend triplet was handy to have around when we were little. All of Cecilia's warm chocolate chip cookies disappear? Alicia did it. A bunch of expensive games get downloaded onto Dad's phone? Just blame Alicia. They both went along with it back then, figuring it was just some quirky twin thing. But if Dad found out that we were still pulling the Alicia business after all this time, he'd kill us. Now that we're seniors, Alicia's the first one into the pool and the last one to leave a party. Ava resurrected her a few years ago when she gave Alicia's name to a guy for fun, and I play along sometimes just to blow off some steam. I don't date. At least, that's what everyone thinks. Dad likes to brag that I'm too busy with school, clubs, and volunteer work to worry about boys. And he's right, mostly. But every now and then, it's fun to get dressed up and go out, no strings attached. At least it was until tonight. I unfastened the necklace and lifted off my skin. The diamonds in the thick script A pendant catching fire in the glow of the recessed kitchen lights. As I coil it on the countertop, I can feel the last remnants of Alicia fall away until I'm just Lexi again, sitting on a kitchen stool in baggy sweatpants listening for Ava's key in the lock. "Hey," she says with a giggle when she finally lets herself through the kitchen door. "How did it go? Isn't Casey cute?" "Jesus, you can really pick 'em," I say, downing the last of the cold coffee in my mug. It's almost 2 a.m., way past the curfew that Dad imposed but doesn't enforce, and the whole place is quiet. His wing of the house is far enough away from the rest of us that he never hears anything, even if he does happen to be home. "What are you talking about?" Ava says, and I don't miss the slight slur in her voice. "How much did you drink tonight?" I ask. I know she's going to get annoyed, but I can't help myself. My mind flashes to the earliest photo we have, of right before Dad adopted us, the one of the two of us in an old-fashioned flowered couch. We're already 6 months old, and I'm sitting up grabbing my feet, but Ava's so tiny that she still seems like a newborn propped up against one of the pillows, the feeding tube taped to her cheek and her arms grasping at thin air. I look like a hulking giant next to her. There isn't any evidence of us earlier than that. No newborn pictures, no plastic hospital bracelets pressed into a photo album, no cards with imprints of tiny feet dipped in paint. It's like we materialized right at the moment he found us on his restaurant steps. Ava reaches absently for a glass and pours herself some water from the fridge. "None of your beeswax," she says, like we're 4 years old again. "I was good. Maya drove." I can smell the beer on her breath when she talks. "So what happened with Casey?" She grins a little wistfully. "Maybe not the smartest guy in the state, but definitely easy on the eyes." Casey. Just the name alone leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I slid off my stool at the counter and walk over to the espresso machine on the wall. Might as well make some more. It's not like I'm going to get much sleep tonight anyway. "Does this look easy?" I ask, and I pull at the neck of my sweatshirt that she can see the deep purple bruise he left with his teeth. "Oh my God, what happened?" she asks, suddenly looking a lot more sober. "Casey did that? I totally thought he was a nice guy. He never pulled anything like that on me." "Lucky you," I say coldly, shoving my shirt back on. "Where were you?" The dim orange glow on the asphalt flashes through my mind. In his car in the Cheesecake Factory parking lot. My eyes start to tear up. Everyone else was already gone. "Did he..." She searches my face, her green eyes full of worry. "You know..." "No," I say. I sniff and take a deep breath, trying to get myself together. "He didn't, but not because he didn't try." Ava wraps her arms around my neck and I relax a little. That's usually all it takes, and she knows it. I've never been able to stay mad at her for long. "I'm so sorry," she says. She pulls back and looks into my face, and I know she's seeing a version of what I see looking back at her. The same curly brown hair and green eyes, but it's nothing like looking into a mirror. Ava's the beauty and I'm the brains, and it always amazes me when people can't tell us apart. It's not just the fact that I'm an inch taller. That's only noticeable when we're standing next to each other. Because she was so sick when we were babies, Ava seems so delicate, so fragile. 2 words I can't imagine ever being said about me. Her eyes lock on mine and she pulls the serious face she wears when she wants me to really listen. "I never would have asked you to go if I thought in a million years it would end like that. I know Casey's working again tomorrow night. We should go kick his ass." She gave me a waist-high kick that's impressive. Not just for the fact that she's bombed, but also because she's wearing sky-high heels and an insanely tight skirt. I allow myself a tiny grin. Well, he might actually need some stitches on his face. "No way." Ava looks at me in disbelief, and I'm almost offended that she thinks I can't take care of myself. "Did you hit him?" "Better." I hold my fist up. Keyed him like they taught us in self-defense. It actually worked. Ava shakes her head. You could have been killed. They also said that the first goal was to walk away. I know, I got lucky. But I started thinking about what Alicia would do and decided that she wouldn't let it end without a fight, no matter what happened. Ava lets out a low whistle. I'm just glad you're okay. You should have called me. I did, I say, staring up at her. I tried you 1,000,000 times, but you never picked up. Oh, right. She takes a sip of water and her face goes instantly red. For the first time, I noticed the matching diamond A pendant around her neck. Oh, crap. You were out as Alicia, too? I thought you said you had to go to a surprise birthday party. Ava puts a hand on the pendant, knowing she's been caught. Rule number 4 is that only one of us can be Alicia at a time. I did! For Maya's sister's friend! Out near the university! The grin on her face is a dead giveaway. I'm not letting her get away with it. What's his name? Why does it always have to be a guy? She goes for a hurt look, but I'm not buying it. Whenever Ava does something stupid, it's always about a guy. Okay, fine. His name is Dylan Harrington, she says excitedly. Tall and ripped, plays basketball on the college team. I sigh. You knew Alicia was already out with Casey. What if someone figures it out? The guilty look on her face tells me all I need to know. Ava follows rules when they serve her purposes. Everything else is merely a suggestion. I'm sorry, she whines. Except for Maya, nobody we knew was there. I swear. I went to the party as me, but then he showed up. I just couldn't let it go. It was an Alicia emergency. So what's wrong with him? So far, he sounds like a guy Ava would keep for herself. He's from Bakersfield, she says, her nose wrinkling. I swear I could still smell cows on him. She looks wistful, but his arms, oh man. So it looks like Alicia's going to be extra busy for the next few weeks, which gives me just the opening I need. I've been thinking, I say, watching her out the corner of my eye. Maybe we should quit Alicia. We're going away to college soon, and it's time for Alicia to disappear before she gets caught. Or worse. No! I don't want to quit Alicia! Her face registers shock and betrayal, just like I knew it would. Come on, she says, but her voice softer, with the sing-song lilt she uses to get her way, even though she knows it doesn't work on me. It's all just for fun. Does this look like fun to you? I pull at the neck of my sweatshirt again so she can see the mark Casey left. For a split second, I see his face hovering above me, his eyes shut tight in ecstasy or anger. Sometimes it was hard to tell the difference. It's stupid and dangerous. We've been lucky so far, but what if one of the guys finds out you've been lying to him the whole time? I reach around and grab my wallet out of the bag that's hanging on the back of the chair. Here. I slap Alicia's fake ID onto the counter and slide it towards her. Ava got it made last year, because she almost got caught with her real license by one of Alicia's dates. Ava's hand slides over the card just as Cecilia shuffles into the room in her robe and slippers. What are you girls doing up so late? She asks, yawning. Her brown hair is puffy on one side, and she has sheep marks on her face. Sorry, did we wake you up? My heart races and I know I look guilty. Cecilia must really be tired because she doesn't call me on it. No, she says, heading for the cupboard. I fell asleep reading and I need some water before I go to bed. Ava's eyes widen at me when Cecilia's back is turned and I shrug. To the rest of the world, Cecilia is just a housekeeper, but to us, she's as much of a mom as we've ever had, and just as guilt-inducing. Cecilia looks at Ava's outfit while her water fills at the fridge. Ava, tell me you're not just getting home. No, I've been here for ages, Ava says with a straight face that makes me jealous. I've never been able to lie like she can. They were just hanging out. Cecilia nods and then turns to me and she takes a sip of water. I didn't even hear you come in. Did you get your English project done? It was hard enough lying to her about where I was going tonight. I didn't want to have to continue it now. Mostly, I say. I take my cup to the sink and keep my back to her while I wash it out. Well, as long as everyone's home safe. Good night, girls. Cecilia gives us a wave and disappears down the hallway. You don't think she heard anything? Ava says quietly as soon as we hear Cecilia's door shut. I shake my head. Cecilia always calls us out if she thinks we're up to something. Ava glances down the hall and then leans in close to me. I still say we can't let Casey get away with this. Picturing Casey's leering face sends the same shiver of fear and regret down my spine, and I wish I'd never heard his name. No, drop it. It's done, and I don't ever want to see him again, I say. But I think we should quit Alicia while we can, before someone really gets hurt. Chapter 2. Alicia! I'm sitting on the patio of Cafe Roma when I hear that name, and my heart starts to pound. Don't look up. Don't even glance his way. Pretend you didn't hear him, and he'll think it's a mistake. I focus on the laptop in front of me and hope the guy goes away. He shouldn't be here. This is exactly why we don't do Alicia close to home. Alicia? The guy says it softly this time, with more of a question at the end, like he's not exactly sure anymore. That little catch in his voice is what makes me finally look up. I take a deep breath. I don't know what I expected, Casey or someone even worse, but this one looks fairly harmless. I guess they all do at first. It only takes one glance to figure out why Ava must have given him the Alicia business. With dark brown hair and light blue eyes, he's cute enough, but everything's just a little too for him to date Ava. Hair a little too long, jeans a little too worn, edges a little too rough. He looks about our age, maybe a little bit older, but everything about him screams punk rock, not pre-med. Not what my sister would think of as a keeper. I reach for my latte and give him a sad smile that goes with my slightly stained Stanford sweatshirt. Sorry, no. I can see the light in his eyes dim a little as he studies me, and I glance down to see what he sees. 3-year-old sweats and scuffed Uggs. Never mind a serious lack of makeup and my hair piled into a messy bun. He must not know Alicia very well if he thinks I'm her. Alicia doesn't leave the house unless she's camera ready. We work hard to make Alicia look effortless. I just don't make much of an effort. This poor guy looks so confused. I almost feel sorry for him. I'm Lexi, I say, wondering how much of this I'm going to have to explain before I can get rid of him. How much did Ava tell him anyway? Not Alicia. The confusion starts to lift from his face as he pieces together. Oh, you must be one of her sisters. Now he just looks embarrassed. I met Alicia at a show in Lucadia a couple months ago. We went out a few times. I had to do some things up north and just got back into town. He hesitates. How is she? Fine. Good, he says with a slightly uncomfortable smile. That's good. I nod, silently urging him to move along. Nothing to see here. I'm not the one you're looking for. When they realize it's just me, guys usually vanish. Instead, he puts one hand on the empty chair across from me at the table. Do you mind if I sit here? I look around trying to come up with something other than a flat, bitchy yes. But there's something in his blue eyes that makes me hesitate. The cafe patio has filled up since I sat down. I've had my face so buried in my laptop I didn't even notice. The guy follows my glance. It's just that it's packed out here. He nods towards my laptop. I won't say a word, I promise. I shrug and kick the chair towards him. All he wants is a place to sit. It's fine. He sets his drink and little plastic restaurant number on the table. Thanks. I turn pointedly back to my laptop, but it's impossible to concentrate with him sitting across from me. Even though he's not doing anything I can pinpoint as irritating. Just distracting. He drapes his jacket over the back of the chair and squints across the sidewalk toward the beach, where the sun is starting to break through the mid-morning fog.
Gonna get hot soon.
I don't look up. Yep. Sweat is starting to trickle down my back, and I can't even take the sweatshirt off because the t-shirt I'm wearing is in even worse shape. After settling in, he pulls an actual book out of his bag, so I slowly let my eyes wander past the laptop screen to see what he's reading. Pride and Prejudice. Seriously? I watch his eyes to see if he's just holding the book for effect, but it looks like he's actually reading it. We sit in silence for a few minutes until Cheryl brings his burger and fries to our table. She winks at me as she sets the plate down, and I smile, praying with all my might that she won't start some random conversation. Everyone around here knows we're twins, not triplets, and I'm too far into this to have to explain it now. I relax a little after she walks away without a word, and he slides the plate towards me. Fry? I don't look up. No thanks.
It's only fair. You share your table with me, I share my fries with you.
The salty smell hits me, and I look over at my now empty glass. That latte is the only thing I've had in the 2 hours I've been sitting here. Okay, I say, reaching for the plate. Just a couple. Thanks. One of the fries barely grazes the floor before a watchful seagull dives from the railing and scoops it up in a blur of feathers and squawking. I laugh as the guy jumps back in his seat, obviously not familiar with the vultures masquerading as harmless seabirds that are the real overlords of this place. It makes sense that he's not from around here. Ava would never pull an Alicia this close to home. Alicia is strictly for guys we'd never bump into in real life. We hope. You'd better hold on to those fries. The seagulls are ruthless. I say,
Duly noted.
My phone buzzes and I jump, just like I've done every time for the past few weeks. The waiting is killing me. I click on my email, but it's only junk. Nothing from Stanford. Not yet. The guy grabs a couple of fries and gestures towards my phone. Expecting something? I turn back toward my laptop and type a few words. It almost feels like I've been caught doing something embarrassing. I thought we agreed to no talking.
I thought we were on a break.
He smiles, revealing the prominent canine teeth, a defect that I secretly love. I wouldn't want to keep you from your heavy reading, I say, nodding at the book. He turns it over and looks at the front like he's just noticing it for the first time.
Yeah, I thought I should see what all the fuss is about.
Let me know when you figure it out, I say, glancing at the book.
I can't stand Jane Austen. With all the preening and dancing and girls who are interested in a guy only when they realize he has money.
He looks right into my eyes, a piercing gaze that makes my stomach flip.
Not an Austen fan? He says quietly. Good to know.
I look down at my hands and shake my head. What am I doing? This is one of Ava's rejects, and I'm sitting here stealing fries and talking about Jane Austen when I should be studying for that statistics test on Monday. After the catastrophic end to last night's date, I need to keep my focus. Eyes on the prize, as Dad always says. I seriously don't have time for this. He peers over the top of the screen. What's so important that you're hunkered down here typing away on such a beautiful day? Hunkered? I don't hunker. Who under the age of 60 uses words like that? Without even looking up, I can tell he's smiling.
I don't know. You look pretty hunkered to me. And one little text got you all twitchy. I stand by my word choice.
I'm just waiting for an email. He doesn't comment, so I go on. From college. Admission acceptances are due this week. He nods thoughtfully. Sounds important. Where did you apply? Stanford. There's a beat of silence as he waits for more.
That's it? Just Stanford?
I put my hands in my lap and look at him. It's obvious he's not going anywhere anytime soon. No, that's not it. But it might as well be. The first thing I ever wore was a Stanford onesie.
My father's had the Stanford Dad bumper sticker ready on his card since I was 9. Stanford's the only place that matters. It doesn't help that I applied for early action and got deferred. Deferred, as in a definite maybe. My life feels like it's been on hold for the past few months. But why? I stare at him, amazed that anyone can be so oblivious. Because it's the best? The guy shrugs and gives me a little grin. The best for what? The best for meeting your very own Mr. Darcy? I turn back to my laptop, irritation bubbling up inside me. Why am I even bothering trying to explain myself to this Novu grunge P&P toting hipster? Not like this conversation is ever going to matter. Only the best university on the West Coast. For everything. I say into my keyboard. Pre-law? No. I hate the smug look on his face. Business. The look of derision in his eyes isn't subtle at all. Serious. What's wrong with that? I can hear the defensiveness in my voice, but I can't help it. Nothing. Lots of kids want to grow up to be CEOs. I try to tell myself to shut up, but I rarely listen to my own advice. I'm going to be a partner in my dad's company, I say before I can stop myself. What kind of company? I hesitate. I usually hate telling people what Dad does, but this guy looks expectant, so what the hell? Not like I'm ever going to see him again. They make Andy bars. Your dad is that Andy? The guy's eyes are wide. I smile tightly. His actual name is Alvaro, but Dad thought Andy was catchier back in the days when he started making his nutrition bars in small batches in the kitchen of his restaurant. Now that he's practically famous, it's too late to change it. Yep. I wait for the next question, which is always, can you get me some? But he just seems surprised. Interesting. Is that what you've always wanted to do? I don't like the way he's looking at me, like my family is all entitled or something. My dad's family came here from Guatemala when he was 5. His father was a custodian at a high school. Dad put himself through college by bussing tables and got his MBA from Stanford. He does a lot of charity work through his corporation, not to mention being the only parent to his adopted twin daughters after his blonde trophy wife bailed on him. Okay, maybe she wasn't blonde. I don't know because Dad got rid of all the pictures of her. And not exactly a trophy wife, because they didn't have a lot of money back then. But that's what I imagine when I think about the woman he was married to once upon a time. Dad saved a newspaper article from almost 17 years ago. It's on the front page of our baby book. I love the headline. Foundling twins left on restaurant steps. When I was little, I thought a foundling was something out of Harry Potter. Some mythical creature with tiny shimmering wings and secret magical powers. Not that it was just a nice word for an abandoned baby. Dad decided that the fact we had been left at his restaurant was a sign that he had been chosen just for us. They spent months working on our adoption, only to have his wife decide before we were 2 years old that maybe the whole parenting thing wasn't for her. But he stuck around. So you feel like you have to do the same thing in order to measure up? Yes. No, it's just what I've always wanted to do. If he was a doctor, I'd probably want to do that. He's one of the best people I know. I see, he says quietly, and I can't tell if he's mocking me or not. I glance up. That turned into a lot more of a moment than it meant to be. So, what did you want to be? He stares at the sky. At first, I wanted to be Superman, but then I realized that leaping tall buildings and bending steel is not exactly a skill set you can learn. So then I wanted to be a rock star. And you're studying Jane Austen because it will help you at rock star school? Something like that. The guy smiles, revealing those big square teeth. Right now, the School of Life is a better choice than Stanford for me. He leans back in his chair. Okay, future CEO. What about Harvard? Yale? Dartmouth? I glance out at the bicycles on the path in front of the sand. Their riders in shorts and flip-flops despite the fact that winter is barely behind us. I don't believe in snow. He lets out a sharp laugh. You don't believe in snow? How can you all believe in it? It exists. I've seen it myself.
I believe in it for other people, just not for me. I hate it, and all the other Ivy League schools have snow, so it's Stanford or nothing.
Obviously.
He leans back in his chair so that the front legs lift off the ground.
Now that you've explained it to me, I totally see your point.
He goes back to eating, and I try to focus on the statistics problem in front of me, although my mind is whirling and I'm having a hard time concentrating. I have no idea why I just told him all that.
So, Lexi, Alicia told me that your other sister is Ava. Ava, Alicia, and Lexi?
I pointedly take my hands off the keyboard and put them in my lap. Alexa, I say. Lexi is short for it. Ava, Alicia, and Alexa. He laughs a little and nods.
I see what they did there. Why do people always name twins and triplets things that rhyme?
I don't even remember how we came up with the name for the third twin, but once we started calling her Alicia, it just seemed to fit. Technically, they don't rhyme, but honestly, I don't know. I didn't exactly have a say in it. He waves to a bunch of guys as they take over an empty table in the corner. Let me guess, I say, looking at the group. It's full of way too much hair, visible tattoos, and those ear gauges that make the person look like an escapee from National Geographic. Your band?
He grins. Is it that obvious?
I look from the table of guys back to him. He fits in perfectly. I bet money he's the lead singer. Yep, it is.
So much for conformity and individuality.
He thumps his chair onto the deck as he leans forward, and I feel the heat from his body as he closes the space between us. I wonder what Ava wore the night she met him at the show. If she put her hair up in a ponytail like she does sometimes when it's hot. If she wore the shorts Dad hates because her ass plays peekaboo when she walks. I wonder what she said to him over the loud music at the club. If she leaned in close in the steamy air, her lips brushing his hair as she shouted her answer. If she smiled in that annoying way she has when she gave him the fake name to go along with the fake personality. He tilts his head, and for a split second I wish I was wearing Alicia's pendant, instead of sitting here going on about Stanford and the joys of business school. Alicia would probably put her hand on his arm, brush the soft skin of his wrist with her finger. She looked straight into his eyes with a gaze that would leave no doubt about how she felt. A look that would leave him grasping for words. Alicia can get a guy to do anything she wants.
Maybe I'll see you around sometime,
he says, pushing himself away from the table and shooting me a smile. Right, I mumble, my eyes on the wooden tabletop, embarrassed, as if he could read my mind. He pauses as he turns to go.
Must be fun having other people who just look like you, he says, studying me. I bet you could have a great time with it, you know, sitting in each other's classes, taking each other's tests, fooling people into thinking you're the other sister.
I watch him as he wanders over to the crowded table across the deck, pulls out an empty chair, and flips it around before sitting down with his friends.
You poor dumb bastard,
I say into my keyboard, trying to get his face out of my head. You really have no clue.
What are you muttering about?
Zane Romero asks, pulling the chair out and flopping into it. Despite the fact that it's still freezing at the end of March, he must have gone out surfing, because the end of his curly blonde hair is still wet and his hands are red. Zane cups his hot chocolate in both hands and takes a big swig, his brown eyes on me. Nothing, I say, staring at my keyboard. Whenever I see Zane now, I miss him. Not the 6'4" surfer version of Zane, but the little kid with the unruly hair and killer train set complete with hills and tunnels and little tiny people placed carefully in the painted landscape. Before his mom and dad got divorced, we lived next door to each other and spent hours playing with the train set that took over his entire garage. Until his parents decided it was weird for a 10-year-old boy to hang around with a 10-year-old girl all the time, and they started finding other things for him to do. Soon after, Zane discovered surfing, and I discovered studying. Eventually, when we saw each other in school, we didn't have much to talk about anymore. This year, he ended up in my Spanish class, and it's been nice having him back, even a little bit.
Who's the guy? He asked, nodding in the direction of the crowded table. I don't know, I say, not looking over there. I feel stupid for letting myself get all worked up over some band boy. I glanced up at Zane and know he's not going to be satisfied until he hears the whole story. Besides Maya, he's the only one who's in on it. One of Alicia's rejects. He raises his eyebrows without saying anything, but he doesn't have to, because I've heard it all before. I shrug my sweatshirt higher onto my shoulder to make sure Casey's bite mark doesn't show. No way I can explain that right now. I know. I just told Ava we should quit. He takes a slow sip of his drink and watches me squirm. You know you're better than that. I look him straight in the eyes. After all this time, what does he know? I can hear the guys at the other table talking and laughing. Maybe I'm not, I say quietly. I can tell by the look on his face that he's not going to take the bait. As much as he would disagree, Zane doesn't know everything. Just because we were neighbors once upon a time doesn't mean he can pass judgment now. It's not like we're still running through the sprinklers in our underwear. Times have changed. Zane glances at the guy. So what's wrong with him? I shrug. Knowing Ava, his car is probably more than 3 years old. That's enough to make him undateable, as far as she's concerned. He thought I was Alicia. Zane laughs out loud. How could he possibly think that? He doesn't actually look at my sweats and grungy boots, but I get what he means. Thanks a lot. Don't be like that. He leans the chair over on 2 legs and gives me a wet, sloppy kiss on the cheek. I get a whiff of the sea and sunscreen. No matter what the weather, Zane always smelled like summer. You're much hotter than Alicia. Not working, I say, wiping my face with exaggerated movements. He laughs. Remember the time you cut your hair really short and blamed it on Alicia? First grade, I say, nodding. The moment was immortalized in our school photos that year. I did it when Ava got invited to Vanessa O'Neill's birthday party without me, an attempt to finally make myself different from her. Except it felt so weird, like I was the one being punished. Once my hair grew back, I never did it again. I looked like a boy for months. Didn't Alicia pour some live goldfish into the pool once? The hot tub. I scrunched my eyes shut with the memory of the colorful fish bobbing to the surface like carrots in a giant bowl of chicken soup. She thought they were cold. Cecilia was so mad. In my mind, it's almost like there were actually a third twin with us. Even when we were kids, Alicia was fun and daring and not afraid to get into trouble now and ask for forgiveness later. Even though she was imaginary, Alicia seemed so real then. There's a big rolling laughter from the table at the corner, so we both look over. I catch the guy's eyes. He quickly looks away from me with a sly smile. He's exactly the kind of guy Alicia would go for. Zane looks from the table back to me, and for a split second I'm sure he can tell what I'm thinking. Good thing you're not doing Alicia anymore, he says softly so no one else can hear. That girl was nothing but trouble.